had the weirdest thing happen to me last night. These kinds of things don't happen to me very often. They happen. So I'm not usually too surprised by them, but last night surprised the shit out of me. Hold on, I'm gonna go refill my coffee. I keep replaying this situation over and over and over again this morning because I feel like possibly I did something wrong. At the time, I didn't feel like I did anything wrong. I mean, I'm not going to apologize for anything I said. So, Miss Janice and I have a mutual friend. And last week, me and Miss Janice exchanged phone numbers, and we've been chatting with each other, and she's a wonderful person. I'm so happy that I have her in my life. But I was having some thoughts on my way home from work last night about boundaries and boundaries being tested. And then a song came on the radio by Zach Bryan. I remember everything. I remember everything. Listen to that song today. But it triggered a memory for me from December 2nd. A comment on my video, we came here to break the rules or something like that, and it was a direct relation to Luke chapter 13 verse 15. Jesus is addressing the Pharisees in the temple, and they were like, oh, how dare you do healing work on the Sabbath? And he was like, oh, how dare you practice capitalism in the temple. He was like, you're working on the Sabbath. Why can't I? And he called them hypocrites. So there were two cards that were pulled during that reading, the healer and the mask. Is that right? No, the shaman and the mask. And this mutual friend of ours made a comment that set me on a week-long tangent, to which it culminated, and I ended up finally eating crow, because it was like, it started with, you can't tell people to just worship the sun, and you can't tell people to just worship the moon. The men need the sun, the women need the moon. Then the energy of the heroes Gamos came out, and I was realizing that the heroes Gamos was all about the balancing of opposite energies. Sekhmet came through in a channeling, and she was like, you need both. You need both. Because even though I'm the Eye of Ra, who came and destroyed the world with my bloodlust, I still was able to be soothed and back into the state of Hathor and go back to the moon. So I ate crow a little bit on that. But for the most part, after the new year was over, things have calmed down. And I'm back, like dealing with what I'm going through with the collective energy. So everything's quiet. And then last week, me and Miss Janice exchanged phone numbers, which was an incredibly vulnerable thing for me to do, because back in the 90s during the .com era, I as a teenager got sucked into these chat room relationships with older men across the country, relationships that were never going to amount to anything, or relationships that were going to cause me to become a statistic and a face on a milk carton. So I'm like super careful about people that I meet online, and I don't even give out my personal email address. When I'm dealing with you guys on TikTok and YouTube, I usually just give my Enlightened Heart Soul Connection email to chat back and forth. I'm really careful because bad things did happen back then and they still happen now. Anyway, so I had that comment come to my head, and he hasn't even really like posted much since Christmas. He commented and then posted a video about copycatters. I took that shit so personally. I took it so personally that it's, you know, it bled through my readings a little bit. But that's okay because that's stuff that I was having to deal with, right? So I have already integrated those lessons. Last night he reached out to me. No shit, like right after I was talking to Janice, like, look, let me tell you this story about how I've been feeling in my connection with him since we met. I guess it's been 3 years ago now. On YouTube, way back when he had his YouTube channel. And when I found his channel, he only had like 350 followers or subscribers, and I was just starting. I was baby. Something about his energies always triggered me, but it's always triggered me into positive growth, pushing me more from the heavy masculine energy that I had used for survival my whole life into a more softer feminine form of my energy. So anyway, he reached out to me last night right after I got through talking to Janice. I had this whole spread laid out on the table, and I was like, girl, I'm going tomorrow, meaning today, the message is going to be hard. Like, I don't know if I want to talk about this. I don't know if I want to post it. I don't know, because I was going to call out that comment. I wasn't going to name any names. I was going to call out the comment. I was going to talk about it a little bit, because people may be finding that there's boundary testing, a lot of it happening right now, and I felt that comment made me feel dismissed. It felt like an accusation. It felt like unsolicited advice, and I didn't appreciate it. And the accusation that I felt coming from that almost made me shut down my TikTok and YouTube channels. I had to sit with it. The energy from the reading that he commented on was most definitely, like, I pulled my cards, even though there was a direct connection to, we came here to break the rules, because of a post that he had made the night before. When I started to do my channeling that morning, it was the same message. It was the same message. And I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and it was most definitely collective energy. Yeah, so he hasn't really commented on any of my videos since December. He hasn't liked many of my videos, which I was already off on how can you be friends with somebody and not show them some kind of support? Even if you don't resonate with the message, give them a like. It takes a lot of energy for us to get on screen like this and vomit out our emotions on the table in a card spread, because if you're reading for the collective properly, you should be looking at these cards as a direct message for yourself while you're addressing the collective. And it takes a lot of vulnerability to do that. Out of the blue, I mean, he hasn't even posted on TikTok in many weeks. I mean, not much more than stories or like a little thing here and there. I hadn't seen him in a while, and he reached out to me last night. He sent me a message, and he was like, hey, and I was like, oh my fucking God. And we got to talking. He gave me his phone number. I sent him a text message. I was like, hey, this is me. You want to chat? Because online is not secure. Nothing is guaranteed right now, but we exchanged phone numbers. But then there was a misunderstanding, a big misunderstanding. He laid his heart out on the table to me about the shit that he's been going through for the last couple of weeks since he's been absent on his sabbatical. And I was like, damn, I'm real sorry you've been dealing with that bullshit, because basically, well, I'm not going to tell his story. It's his story to tell. But anyway, but yeah, I was like, wow, I'm really sorry you've been dealing with this bullshit. But because I felt so dismissed by this person for so long, like a very one-sided relationship. Like wasn't very guarded. But I offered my phone number. I mean, I took his phone number and I sent him a text and I was like, hey, it's me. But somehow there was a misunderstanding in my response to, wow, I'm so sorry you're dealing with this bullshit. And he was like, yeah, I felt like bullshit. You just made me feel like bullshit. Fuck this bullshit. And then he was like, later, God damn it. I was fucking crying last night because I feel like sometimes I don't communicate well, that my RBF sometimes RBF, resting bitch face. I very rarely smile. I'm very focused all the time. But my RBF kind of sometimes shows up in the words that I write to people, and very sincerely, like there is a deep love and respect for this man. He's been through some shit. He has overcome some things that would have killed other people. Just in the overcoming of his experiences. I mean, that alone, the drug addiction that he's overcome, like, some people die during withdrawal from these drugs. So just the experience of having to overcome the drug addiction is worthy of my respect, because I'm living a situation right now where I don't feel like there's other people that are willing to put in that work. But I'm trying to live here in the present moment with no expectation and no judgment. And I have no judgment for this man. Like, none. Because I can see the divinity in all people. And I always, like, people always misunderstand me. And, like, everything that comes out of my mouth is a direct result of the love and compassion that I have for others. But maybe I expect a level of love and compassion out of them as well, and I always end up hurting my own feelings. So I'm trying to release expectation, which I think I'm doing a pretty good job at, which, you know, I mean, even last night my response was essentially like, don't hear the words that I didn't say. I love you, have a good night. Like, that was it. I set my boundary. I'm not going to explain to you why I said the things that I said. There's no explanation needed. Just like you had no explanation for why you said what you said, because we talked about that comment a little bit, and there's no hard feelings there at all. The video, the message was eerily similar, and it was like such a magnetizing moment that those two cards came out the same within 12 hours, because he didn't watch my video until almost 24 hours after I posted it. So it seemed like it was posted after his, but my video came out 12 hours before his video did. The Divine Feminine has to wake up first. It's just how it works. We process the energy so that way we can help the masculine when he gets to it. Because we're the spiritual creators, and they are the practical builders. I don't know. But I've been just sitting here drinking my coffee, trying to figure out what the fuck, where the hell the miscommunication was, because I still don't understand what the breakdown was. And I cried last night because I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, why do people always misunderstand me? And it was just like, I finally got some reciprocity out of this person, like after 3 years of emails and comments and very few replies. 1717 on my timer. And I finally got some reciprocity, and I'm now, it feels like it's gonna go back to square one, and now he fucking hates me because I said something stupid. I don't fucking know. I don't know. There was a message last night about allowing, like, relationships, like all relationships, platonic, romantic, whatever, they don't have to fall within certain guidelines, so we can just allow them to be whatever they are. Let love be free, and don't put people in boxes. Just allow it to be what it is. It doesn't have to look any sort of way. So I'm trying to let this go, but I'm hoping that he sees this message this morning and reaches out to me today, because I in no way, shape, or form wanted him to feel like that. I don't want anybody to feel like that, because I truly do, like, resonate on some level with whatever it was that he was experiencing, which is this story to tell, and I'm not going to tell it. So anyway, happy fucking Wednesday. Alright, I'll catch you guys on the next one. I just wanted to put that out there. I love you all. Have a great day. Later.